Good evening and welcome everyone to the Fall Asynchronous Awards Ceremony. So we had a fantastic entry once again with 8 schools and 63 entries, as you got to see just a few of those clips from the beginning. So as with all tournaments, this is not a single person's effort. This was a huge concerted effort of a lot of people putting in a tremendous amount of work. So we want to start off by thanking a few people that really went above and beyond. So as we put in the intro invite for this asynchronous tournament, we're a little bit different. It's really something of an adventure with an asynchronous tournament, allowing students from all over the country to get to participate in this event. And part of this tournament was also offering an internship. So we wanted to start off by thanking possibly the person that put in some of the most hours to this entire tournament. That is Corey Blackwood from NYU. Thank you very much. Now, also, I know, as with before, this is something where we can't hear each other clap, but that's still the fun part of awards anyways, so I'll still keep with that. The next person we want to thank is the owner of Hired Judge, and that is Blake Longfellow with Diablo Valley College. Hired Judge was instrumental in making sure that we had terrific judges for this tournament, playing backup and also covering some other schools, so thank you so much to Blake. And then the next person we wanted to thank was the person who put together the software, really the backbone of all of this. I'm sure if you've participated in any forensics whatsoever this semester, it has been in no small part due to his hard work. So I want to thank Danny Cantrell. Now, there is so much work that goes on behind the scenes, as well as those people at ProtoCommunications. So my name is Tim Seavey. I was the judge coordinator for this, but I really want to give a special thank you to Rita Raphael, who did so much work in coordinating all the back end of putting together all of the events, all the entries, all the playlists, and to Matt Shapiro, also with ProtoCommunications, who handled all the waivers and legal side. And finally, I want to welcome up and thank the person that has been the tournament director and the coordinator for all of this, Jared Kubica Miller.
Thank you very much, Tim. So this tournament is the effort of us responding to circumstances that come once every 100 years. We are living in a quarantine situation and pandemic. Last semester in the spring, we put together one of these tournaments in haste, and we thought that there was enough demand for it to do it again. And lo and behold, here we are. I really love the alternative format that technology allows us, and we're really trying to explore that to its fullest. I want to commend all of the students that submitted for this tournament, and I hope to do this again in the future, God willing. So first, we're going to start with the limited preparation events. Limited preparation events, for anyone who is new to this activity, are those in which the topics are not chosen by the students, but instead are presented by the tournament staff or coaches. There are 2 events. One's impromptu and one is extemporaneous. The first we're going to deal with is impromptu. The topics for this were big, broad, philosophical terms, and they only had 24 hours to put together a 5-minute speech for them. It was a very robust entry for this tournament, and the results speak for themselves. We're going to start with novice impromptu.
From San Diego State University, Dan Nguyen, speaking on deontology.
During their raid, they have promised, the Vietcong has actually promised that they will not murder anyone if the village just surrenders.
From Santiago Canyon College, Dylan Code, on empiricism.
Saw how he used balloons through his chimney, lifted his house off the ground, flew across the world, and was able to accomplish his dream.
From Irvine Valley College, Annie Mulvick, on nihilism.
Interpreting this to mean a world where everything is pointless. There's no meaning. And I disagree with this quotation.
Congratulations to Annie Mulvick. We also had an open division for impromptu, and that open division had even more competition. So, without further ado,
From Maricopa Speech and Debate, Samantha Smithart, on solipsism.
And those missing 43 students have still not been found to this day. Those families have been crying and shouting in the streets, calling for their silence.
From California State University Fullerton, Matthew Allegog on absurdism.
We are simply part of a simulation. A lot of philosophers purport that a higher species before us has already been able to create a simulation and that we're just living in it.
From San Diego State University, Renee Owens on voluntarism.
Made their batteries weaker in order to hurt others and make money for themselves, and without regulations against that, we would all be injured by corporations such as this over and over again.
Hello.
Hello.
What did you feel about the topics at this tournament?
It's really unique to do something that isn't a quotation. And so you can kind of take a different direction, and I feel like you can go a little bit more broad because you aren't constrained by even so many words. You have a broader idea of what you can do.
Well, that's excellent. I'm going to give you the screen. If you'd like to thank anybody, it is your time.
Well, for impromptu, I just have to thank my coach, Tim. I wouldn't be doing impromptu if he hadn't encouraged me and taught me all of this. So thank you so much, Tim. Thank you to the whole coaching staff, but specifically for impromptu, I just have to thank Tim.
Thank you very much, Renee. All right. The other event for the limited preparation category is known as extemporaneous. Extemporaneous speaking is where people are supposed to speak with well-grounded research that they actually cite during the speech. They're given 30 minutes time in a normal tournament, but this time they had 24 hours to deal with more challenging quotations. We had a novice and an open division. We will start with novice.
From Northeastern State University, Jacob Hardbarger on the most important upcoming Supreme Court case.
One of them. So we can already see that the current administration and the current Supreme Court is actively already decided for Texas.
From Maricopa Speech and Debate, Denham Glasheen on the future of Hong Kong democracy.
On the political battlefield, there will be more control from the Chinese government, and there will eventually be killed motivation for the movement.
From Maricopa Speech and Debate, Silas Devers on the U.S.-Iranian nuclear deal.
His office in January returned to the status quo, given the passage of time, and with a divided state of American politics, can he do it? Later.
Congratulations to all of the novice extemporaneous competitors. We also had an open division. There was only one winner for this particular event.
From California State University Long Beach, Noah Christensen on the future of Hong Kong democracy.
Even if they disagree on how they're doing this. But it's not just America, it's countries writ large.
Congratulations to Noah. We're going to move on to the platform speeches. The first one I'm going to cover is communication analysis. We only had one entry, but this one entry deserves acknowledgement because communication analysis speeches are some of the hardest to write. They are the most academically rigorous, and they are somewhat convoluted for people who are just starting in the event. Our sole entry is this.
From Maricopa Speech and Debate, Lindsay Gagnon on Arizona Pain and Addiction Curriculum Toolbox.
Information to patients regarding their condition and possible treatment plans have higher patient satisfaction rates.
Joining us is Lindsay. Hello, Lindsay.
Hi.
I'm glad you're able to make it. Communication analysis speeches are typically the ones that have the lowest entry and the most difficult to write. What motivated you to put together such a difficult speech?
Well, I've always been a big fan of research and just kind of trying to challenge myself. And so when one of my coaches came to me with this topic, I felt more motivated to try and tackle it this year. So,
Okay. I'd like to give you a few moments if you'd like to thank anyone.
well, I think first and foremost, I'd like to thank those who have run this tournament for giving us a sort of final chance to show our speeches for this semester before we jump into the national season next semester. So that was really great. I would also like to thank my coaches for helping me cultivate this speech, make it the best that it can be, and continuing to grow with me as we go on into next semester. And finally, I would also like to thank my teammates for being so supportive and listening to me practice so many times. They've all been so wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The next platform speech that I'm going to address is informative. We had one division in this particular event.
From California State University Long Beach, Isabel Guzman on ethical hacking education.
Franchise the people. In lieu of this, the Second Amendment was created so that citizens could take up arms against politicians were the government to get out of control.
From Irvine Valley College, Annie Chen on asynchronous coded electronic skin.
It's a network of sensors, and on the left side, the single electrical conductor that connects them together. Unlike existing...
From San Diego State University, Renee Owens on the biology of schizophrenia and COVID-19.
Fired, and she is not alone. Cases such as this show us exactly why tens of thousands of pregnant women have tested positive for COVID-19.
Okay. She may look familiar. Once again, Renee Owens.
Hi again.
Hello. Now, I was looking at your speech, and it looked like you were looking 10 years into the future, what the possible implications and beyond about the biology of schizophrenia and COVID-19. How in the world do we have enough data to warrant an entire speech?
Well, there's a long-standing set of data and what we know about the overall idea of maternal immune activation. So we know that this happens, that a maternal immune response can cause a reaction that can develop schizophrenia. And we have seen that this is possible, the early, what we can test so far, with COVID-19. So obviously, we won't see exactly what this effect is, but we know that it reacts the same way.
Well, fascinating and very timely. Congratulations. I'll give you a moment if you want to thank anyone else.
So for this speech specifically, I want to thank Natalie, who's just been so supportive. I've had a lot of help on this speech from Ashley, Andrea, Tim, and Natalie in particular. We've just spent a lot of time working on this. So thank you all so much, and thank you to all of the tournament runners for this too.
Of course. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Next, we're moving on to persuasion, another large entry within this tournament, large enough to warrant two different divisions. First, we'll look at novice persuasion.
From California State University Fullerton, Kevin Wang on avoiding the dangers of social media validation.
Social media is just a superficial place in our life. It's not reality. And once we recognize that, we can stop seeking recognition and recognize ourselves and work on ourselves.
From California State University Fullerton, Jana Rassel on how the pandemic is causing evictions.
Didn't do much to help at all. According to CNET on November 9, 2020, despite the laws in place, landlords in some states are still evicting tenants.
From Irvine Valley College, Richa Roy on the dangers of Title 42 of the U.S. Code.
Of the U.S. Code, the CDC issued a largely unnoticed order to authorize expulsions of non-citizens at the border who might introduce...
From Irvine Valley College, Catherine Patrick on former inmates becoming firefighters.
2019. People are against enabling
ex-inmates to become professional firefighters because professional firefighters are the front.
Congratulations, and with us is Catherine Patrick.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Do you have anyone in your family that is a firefighter? Oh.
No, my father, he lost his house due to a fire.
Oh, okay. And so it does kind of cut close to home.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to give you a moment if you want to thank anyone.
Thank you. I would love to thank my head coach, Jules French, for just guiding me through the entire speech and debate process, and also another coach, Jacqueline Yu, as she's been incredibly helpful with preparing me for this speech.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Catherine. Okay. Like I said, we had 2 divisions, so there was also an open division. That makes this a pretty competitive event. The open division for persuasion.
From Irvine Valley College, Sedona to Loma, on the overregulation of plasma donation.
Is manifested in the lives already lost. The New York Times reports on October 9th of 2020 that 230...
From San Diego State University, Haley Stone, on re-traumatization in the classroom.
Given students of color are already at a higher risk of experiencing racial trauma within classrooms, it is vital that we teach...
Congratulations, Haley. The last event within the platform speaking category is speech to entertain. This is always a crowd favorite because the assumption is that you are going to be funny throughout your speech. The 2 award winners did not disappoint in this particular category. Distinguished guests, your STE award winners.
From California State University, Fullerton, Matthew Allengog, on crunch culture in the workplace.
Good thing I'm at home now, because you can't stop me! This was supposed to be a piece of bread. I don't have any more bread.
From California State University, Long Beach, Becky Cantor, on modern-day anti-Semitism.
When I had to read the Diary of Anne Frank, I can't be anti-Semitic. People are quick to tokenize Jewish suffering, and they're just as quick to turn a blind eye.
Congratulations, and we have Becky Cantor with us.
Hi.
Hello, Becky. I saw you reacting to yourself on screen. Why is that?
I just don't like watching myself do that speech. The impersonations are terribly embarrassing for me.
Oh man, but you did such a great job. That's what brings you here right now. I noticed that part of your solutions were that you have your own curated social media platforms. Would you care to share those right now?
So my TikTok is b3cky.dc. So Becky DC, but instead of an E, it's a 3 because I'm that creative.
Very nice. I'd like to give you a moment if there's anyone you'd like to thank.
I really want to thank my coach Aaron first for letting me turn this into a speech and helping me out with all of the jokes, and then for my entire team and my teammates for letting me give this speech so many times so that they could hear my awful jokes. I'm really grateful for my coach Aaron and for the rest of my team.
Thank you very much, Becky.
Thank you.
All right. That does it for the platform speeches. Now we're going to move on to oral interpretation. This is our largest category. It has the most type of events. And some of them aren't represented, like it's kind of difficult to do duo in this circumstance, but all of the other events had entries. The smallest entry, and typically and perennially one of the smallest categories, is programmed oral interpretation. It is difficult to put together one of these particular individual events, which kind of goes and explains why there's usually a small entry. Still, we would like to acknowledge our one winner.
From California State University Fullerton, Ruby Wilson, performing The Earth Still Matters.
Do you think that by now we would know how to take care of our home? The Earth has so much ahead of it, yet we might stop.
Congratulations. The next event for our interpretive events would be dramatic interpretation. Dramatic interpretation is where you adapt a screenplay or theater works into one 10-minute or less piece. We have a top novice that we'd like to acknowledge, as well as the winner. From Santiago Canyon College, Daisy Washington, performing Connections by Jane Martin.
I can see that, honestly. I mean, I can see myself doing what you're doing. But I just...
California State University Fullerton, Matthew Allengog, performing Free Churro by Raphael Bob Waxberg.
There would be more compassion than my mother gave me her entire goddamn life. Like, how hard is it to do something nice for a person?
Congratulations. Joining us is Matthew.
Huh? Oh, wait, hold
Hello.
on. Hi. Hello. Yeah. What's up?
You seem very comfortable right now.
Yeah, it's really cold in my house. I got my Starbucks. Okay, I just woke up like 2 hours ago. This is the first time woken up this early in a while, so.
This early?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. I noticed that your selection was an episode from BoJack Horseman.
Oh yeah, it's a really great Netflix series that I watched over the summer. It's really good.
Okay.
It's about adulting, and it really touched me. So I was like, "Oh, this would be a great DI piece."
Excellent.
And yeah.
Well, I'd like to give you a few moments if there's anyone you'd like to thank.
I'd like to thank the people who made this tournament possible and was able to keep Speech and Debate running, because I love Speech and Debate, and being able to still do it online is awesome. I'd like to thank my coaches, Colette, Jen, and Andrea for helping me out with my piece and making it the way it is now, and Robert, because Robert is Robert.
Robert is Robert. All right. Thank you very much, Matthew. Okay. Quite a character. Next. One of the events that doesn't really need much explanation is poetry, but the rules still apply. You need to have something that is less than 10 minutes long. Usually it's difficult to find a poem that's that long, so people find several of them that surround a socially significant topic, and they put it together in a collage or a program. Ladies and gentlemen, your poetry winners. From California State University Dominguez Hills, Pravenesh Chandra, on Silence Cannot Be Our Strength Anymore.
I am 20 years old. Can I show you what it means for an
From Maricopa Speech and Debate, Samantha Smithart, on A Reminder to Those Struggling with Identity They Are Complex and Beautiful.
You thieving belittler, you failed conquistador, trying to steal parts of my identity?
From Northeastern State University, Aaron Murrell, on For All the Lives Lost, But Not Forgotten.
Damn, man. I was 19 years old when the death of George Floyd started a revolution.
From San Diego State University, Haley Stone, on Silence is the Most Powerful Scream.
Do not say silence. It's rewinding genocide. There is no time to pick your battles. When your battles have already picked you, I don't.
Congratulations, Haley. Our final event, prose. This is usually first-person stories. They don't have as many character pops as DI or POI. It's not as flowery language, but the narrative is what drives these events. Distinguished audience members, your prose winners.
From Maricopa Speech and Debate, Jasmine Goforth, performing Daughter of Nissus by Natalie Frank.
Seemed charming. She seemed genuinely happy to meet me. She asked me how I met Becca.
From California State University Dominguez Hills, Christy Murrow, performing Yes Means Yes by Elna Baker.
And I was like, no. And then he did that thing where he started.
From Northeastern State University, Jacob Hardbarger, performing A Letter to Whom Shall Find It by McLean Desani.
Spray this. Spray that. But what about the germs on the Lysol?
Jacob is also our top novice of the tournament. So we have Jacob here with us. Hello, Jacob. How are you? I believe you're muted right now if you can unmute yourself.
Oh, that is so dumb. Hi!
Yeah. Yeah, hello. I believe you qualify for the farthest school from the location of the tournament. So congratulations on that. Northeastern State University. Yeah, how'd you guys hear about our tournament?
My coach is just so hardworking, and she will scout the Earth, even Jupiter and Mars, to find a tournament that works for me, and I just have to thank her for that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of extra time to thank anyone you want, okay?
Thank you. I'd like to thank both my coach and her mother for helping me with my pieces. I'd like to thank my teammate, Erin, who is incredible and watches all my performances, and she gives me notes. I'd like to thank my family, and I'd like to thank the tournament for giving me this opportunity.
Of course. Thank you very much, Jacob. Okay. That does it for all of our events. I think I'm going to bring Tim back here just in case he has anyone else that he wants to acknowledge. Hey, Tim.
Hey, thank you so much again for emceeing all of that. And one more huge shout out to Jared for making all of this possible and doing all of the editing with it as well. So this was a pretty cool event, and I feel like our ability to run an asynchronous tournament is different from any other kind of tournament, but it's cool because, gosh, imagine the number of other tournaments that happen just in the span of time, right? How many synchronous tournaments happened in the 8 weeks that it takes us to put this thing together. So that's pretty cool that students can submit that event and then be participating in it for, weeks to come, as well as other things.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I like the fact that this tournament is ending right before the holidays, right during Hanukkah, right before New Year's and Christmas, as well as a number of others. I hope everyone is safe over the holidays. Please stay home. Keep yourself well. Thank you very much. And we hope to see all of you and then some in the near future.
Absolutely. Thanks.